Good morning and welcome to Monday's medical insurance class. We're going to start out with a little bit. There's our Stacy. We're going to start out with a little bit of a review today before we get into our NCCT questions. Hi, Stacy. Good morning. Glad to see you.
I had some computer difficulties.
You know, it happens, right? But I want to make sure that you guys have something to write on because I'm going to be talking a little bit about the revenue cycle, but I'm not going to go into it with great detail, just one portion, because it relates to these questions that I've put up for the NCCT. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we're going to do a term review real quick. So the terms that we're talking about, you guys are going to get so sick of hearing these terms, but I'm telling you, they're so important. A copay, what is a copay? Is a fixed out-of-pocket amount by an insured for covered services. What is coinsurance? Is the percentage of your medical costs that you actually have to pay after reaching your deductible. When you incur healthcare costs from a medical procedure, you have to pay out of pocket until you spend a certain amount known as your deductible. Okay, so your coinsurance. If you have an 80-20 insurance policy plan, your insurance pays 80% after the deductible and you pay 20. 20% is your coinsurance. Your copay, when you go to the doctor and they say you owe $50 for today, that is a contracted amount that the insurance has contracted with your medical facility, or no, for you as a patient to pay to the medical facility. So a health insurance deductible is an amount you have to pay towards the cost of your health care bills before your insurance company begins to cover your cost. So my deductible is $2,500. So I can't get, sorry, had to sneeze. So my deductible is $2,000. My insurance doesn't kick in the 80% until after I pay $2,000. What is a referral? Is when a doctor recommends that you see another doctor for specialist care. Prior authorization in healthcare is a requirement that a provider obtains approval from your health insurance plan before prescribing a specific medicine for you or performing a particular medical procedure. Prior authorization and pre-certification are in the same family, same thing. All right, now, this is where we're going to be talking about something new. It's called the revenue cycle. So what is a revenue cycle? Well, revenue means money, right? This is the cycle as a billing and coding specialist, a front-end specialist, an insurance specialist. This is a cycle that directly relates to how we get the money to start flowing in properly. So when do you think a patient's appointment or encounter begins? No guesses? Oh, Abigail, I can't hear you.
Registered?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Pre-registered?
Pre-register. Where does pre-register begin?
That's the very first step, right?
Right, and that first step begins when
Oh,
they
yeah.
the phone call for the appointment or when they come into the office.
Would it be both? Because sometimes they get your information over the phone or no, in person.
Well, that's not a bad guess, but actually your encounter, your pre-registration begins at the phone call where they make the appointment. Because without the appointment, there's no reason to go any further, correct? So your appointment, when they call to make the appointment, that is when your process begins. So we pre-register patients. That can be done over the phone. Now, sometimes you can get online and do your medical information there. Sometimes we do it by paper at the office. It just really just depends. So once your once your patient registers, almost always, they get your insurance information over the phone. If you're a new patient, you want to know why? For this word that we have here, verification. They have to verify that you have the insurance that you say you have, right? Because if you don't do a verification, say you have 100 patients in a week and you don't do verification on those patients, the new patients that are coming in, say you have 25 new patients, probably 5% of that 25 do not have the proper insurance information. Either their information has lapsed or they've been sent a new insurance card and they need that card and they don't realize it. So having a verification of the insurance and how it's covered is absolutely a must for your revenue cycle to be successful from the very beginning. Because you cannot have the correct insurance information and you go all the way around to actually billing out the encounter just to have it sent back by the insurance saying, we don't know who this person is. This is not, you understand what I mean? So that specific step must happen. You must verify the insurance information a patient gives you. Now, this is if you're working at the front desk. If you're a biller, coder, or somebody who handles the payments at the end of a revenue cycle in the back of the office, the receptionist, the person supposed to be verifying the insurance, isn't going to see that it's not paid, is she? No, it's going to go to the back of the house, which means your accounts receivable specialist, your biller, your coder, anybody that's working those denials or claims not paid. So the responsibility falls on that person. But if you're the front of the house, verification is absolutely pertinent to making sure everything is paid in a timely way. So you would need to go to your office manager if that particular person, you're continuously having verification issues and they're sending those claims back. Somebody needs to deal with the front end person to make sure they're doing the verification. So if that is your job, you need to make sure that you do that for every single new patient. And if you're an established patient, when you go to check in or even when you call, they'll ask you, is your insurance still the same? Has anything changed on your policy? And then once a year, if you haven't been in a year, what do? They ask for your insurance card and your ID again, because they're making sure that the information is correct once a year. Any questions about that? No? All right. So specifically, we were just talking about the verification process today. Okay, now, I know that this looks a little jumbled up, but I have two different EOBs here for you to look at. Excuse me. This first EOB, does anybody know what an EOB is? Explanation of benefits. If you have medical insurance and you go to your doctor's office after the revenue cycle ends, you're going to get an explanation of benefits from your insurance company. It's always going to say, this is not a bill, because it's not a bill. It's explaining to you what they paid, what they didn't pay, what they expect for the facility to write off. Excuse me. So we're going to start here at at E. This is the date of service. This is when they went in for the emergency room for the doctor's office visit. It says 6/2. It was an emergency room visit. His charges are $1,200 for this visit. The plan rate or the acceptable rate is $1,200. So there's no fee schedule there that says, hey, we're only going to allow 1,000. If the, y'all, I'm sorry. If the insurance only allows 1,000, then the facility has to write off 200 of that 1,000. But in this case, they're going to allow the 1,200. How much did your insurance plan pay? $150. Paid by other insurance, 0. Okay, now we're going into this box. L means this shows your share of the charges. So not covered is 0. Their deductible that they have to pay before this insurance is going to cover anything is $1,000. So they have to pay $1,000 of their deductible. And then their copay is $50. So the patient needs to pay $1,050. The original charges are $1,200, but they're going to be responsible for $1,050. Does that make sense? Make sense, Victoria? Make sense, Abigail? I mean, does it make sense? No, it's crazy, right? That you're still stuck with that kind of a bill. I get it. It doesn't make sense in that aspect of things. Promise you, I get it. But I just need you to understand what an EOB is and what's listed there. I was going to go over this Medicare EOB, but I just feel like that's not necessary. We're not going to go over this one. But I want you guys, when you go back and watch this, you can pause it and you can kind of read what it says, like D. D shows the date of your EOB was printed and represents your explanation of benefits from the start of your annual contracting through that date. So you can actually go and get further information of each one of these letters of the alphabet down here. So if you want to take the time to read through all of that. Okay, so let's start with our questions. Which of the following processes requires checking and confirming that the patient is a member of the insurance plan and that the member identification number is correct? Do we see why I went over that? Pre-certification, prior authorization, verification, or referral?
Is it verification?
It would be verification, Shanice. Very well done. So when you guys see that I throw something like that seems random, I'm trying to go over all the questions on this packet for review. And sometimes I just have to give you the information because I can't build a whole lesson around one question. So, okay. So now the next one, the patient is a 3-year-old. Both parents have private insurance coverage on the patient, and the mother has a healthcare savings account. The primary insurance belongs to the parent that, okay, who remembers the birthday rule? Do you guys know what the birthday rule is? Okay, so I went over it, but I couldn't remember when I had gone over it. Okay, here's the birthday rule. So for example, this 3-year-old is covered by both of her parents with private insurance. We can't have 2 primary insurances for one patient. So how do we decide which parent goes first? We use what's called the birthday rule. Say mom's birthday is January the 1st. Dad's birthday is May the 23rd. According to the birthday rule in this scenario, whose insurance is going to go first?
It would have been a person that was born first, right?
Yes, the mom's insurance is going to go first because her birthday comes first. It's only the month and the day, it's not the year. So that's what the birthday rule says, is both parents have primary insurance coverage on the child. The parent that has the first birthday in the calendar year, that's what goes first. That's the insurance that's going to be primary. Does that make sense? Okay, so the patient is a 3-year-old. Both parents have private insurance coverage on the patient, and the mother has a healthcare savings account. The primary insurance belongs to the parent who was born first, with the healthcare saving plan, with the earlier birthday in the year, or with the best insurance benefit coverage.
It'll be C.
That's right, with the earlier birthday in the year, because we're using the birthday rule. I will try to remember to put that slide in next week so we can go over it a little bit more, so you can actually see it written down. Okay, HMOs, PPOs, oh my goodness, I know we're sick of these, but we're reviewing. In an HMO plan, members are required to obtain a referral to a specialist from the A, primary care physician, B, attending physician, C, consulting physician, and D, rendering physician.
As long as you're not there.
Primary care physician.
Do we agree? A, primary care physician?
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
correct. Remember our visual? Do you guys still remember the visual? HMO arrow, PCP arrow, referral.
Mhm.
All right. Which of the following should always be collected from the patient at the time of service? Coinsurance, deductible, maximum out-of-pocket, or the copay?
Okay.
Do we agree the copay? Are we sure? It is the copay. Be confident in your answers. It's absolutely the copay.
What is coinsurance?
Coinsurance is the after you meet your deductible, the
Mhm.
20% that you must pay. That is your current coinsurance.
So that's the insurance that they take out before you're paid, before you pay the copay?
Well, the coinsurance directly relates to the deductible and after you meet your deductible. Say that you meet
It's
your
kind of the same
deductible.
thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's in these tests, just remember in this particular test, when you go to an office, copay and coinsurance, they're going to interchange a lot. But for testing purposes, I'm trying to give you the key word so you pass the test. Because real world and testing and book knowledge are not always the same. So I am trying to give you the real world, but I'm trying to prepare you to take this test. So anytime you see coinsurance in one of these scenarios, it's going to be after the deductible is met.
Okay.
So copay is what you're going to pay before you leave the doctor's office. And I'm also going to tell you something else. When you go to the doctor, when do you pay?
After the service, after the see you.
After the service. But I'm telling y'all, there's a question that may be on your test. It may be that asks you when the patient should pay for their service, and they're going to tell you before they go back to see the doctor. So just remember that it's kind of backwards of what we think. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
That's how it
Can
works.
I just chime in on that? Here in Jackson, like when I go to the dentist and I have to pay my little copay for my Medicaid, it'd be like a $20 fee. They charge me before I even be seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean has a different experience, but here we're in Little Louisiana, in my part of the world, in Alexandria.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yes. I can hear you. So Sean's saying that sometimes in Jackson that she has to pay before she goes back. So Small town Louisiana, I pay after. So just realize that this is a national test. So they're looking, I guess, at the greater percentage. So they do it a little different. They do it before you have your service. So just remember that if it's on your test. Which of the following is the percentage the patient pays for covered services after the deductible has been met?
The premium.
No. The premium,
Co-insurance.
Is it D?
All right, now.
no, it is co-insurance. It's co-insurance, A. The premium is what you pay every month out of your paycheck to pay your insurance. That's
Okay. Gotcha.
allowed amount is how it has to do with the fee schedule. But anytime you see deductible, it relates to co-insurance. Co-pay is what you pay before you leave the doctor's office, and your premium is how much they take out your paycheck to pay for your insurance. All right. Now this one, number 63, is going to have 3 correct answers. And I'm actually going to even double check myself on this one. All right. After a statement was received, the patient called to ask why a balance is due on the account. Which of the following would apply? Your copay, your co-insurance, your deductible, your premium, or your overpayment. Now I'm going to bring us back real quick. Look at this box. Deductible, copay, co-insurance. This is our pay box. This is what you're going to owe. So now let's go back to the question. Deductible, copay, co-insurance is in this L box, which shows the charges for the patient. Now, y'all, I do stuff for, I really do try to cover the bases so they make sense. Okay, so which one is going to be the reason that a balance could be due on an account? Copay, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Co-insurance, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Deductible, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Premium?
No.
No, because that's what they're taking out of our paycheck every month, right? And overpayment. There's not even a
No.
place on an EOB for an overpayment, right? So copay, co-insurance, and deductible. The patient has health insurance that covers 70% of her covered expenses that she has incurred, which qualifies for reimbursement. The patient's responsibility will be 30%. This type of cost sharing is referred to as, remember I said if the insurance pays 80,
Co-insurance.
who agrees that it's co-insurance? It is co-insurance. She's right. Remember that if it's a 70-30, 70 is what the insurance is responsible for, and 30 is your co-insurance, which means they're going to pay 70% of the bill, and you still have to pay your 30 after you meet your deductible. I don't want to discuss how messed up insurance is. I'm just we're going to get through it. So yes, the 30% is called your co-insurance. In each calendar year, a specified amount is to be satisfied before benefit payments can be made to the insurance plan. This specified amount is called co-insurance, deductible, copay, or out-of-pocket expenses.
Deductible.
It is
Deductible.
the deductible. Which of the following statements is true about deductibles? The deductible is paid quarterly. The patient pays the deductible to the insurance company. The deductible is figured annually. Patients must pay the deductible even if they have not received services. Okay. I'm gonna
B.
just, huh?
B.
No, it's not paid directly to the insurance company. It's paid to the providers. Let's look at the deductible is figured annually. If I meet my deductible this year, my deductible isn't good forever. Matter of fact, it's not even good until this time next year. My deductible will be started over and reconfigured in January of 2024. So your deductible, it says figured, it starts over annually. Every year you have to continue to pay that deductible. So if you have a surgery in December and you pay your deductible, it's going to start over in January. So it's always, we see more surgeries at the beginning of the year than we do in the back half because people want to get that deductible over with. So they have all year long to benefit from their deductible being paid. So it is, but it's configured annually, yearly. Which of the following is the maximum amount of time allowed to file a claim through Medicare? I'm going to tell you this answer because it fits nowhere in anything ever for any reason. You have 12 months from the date of service to bill a Medicare claim. So Medicare gives you 1 year to file a claim for a patient. Now you may be thinking, why in the world would it take a whole year? Sometimes it just, I'm just going to tell you a story. When I took over for the coder, doing cardiology, when I was billing and I took over for the coder, there was a box of claims, a whole box of claims under her desk that she never billed. Things happen. There has to be a timely filing, and their timely filing is 1 year. So you have 1 year to correct or bill out a claim to Medicare. Just want you to know that. After a patient is seen for a follow-up visit, the physician orders additional diagnostic testing. Which of the following does the insurance and coding specialist need to obtain? Allowed amount, pre-authorization, an advanced beneficiary notice, or a referral? So the patient needs to be seen for a follow-up. The physician orders additional diagnostic testing. Before that he can do that and the insurance will pay, we need a pre-authorization. Some insurances do not call for pre-authorizations. When you get to your facility, they will train you on all of that. There will be a list, there will be information, but for testing, it's pre-authorization. Which of the following statements should the insurance and coding specialist use to advise a patient that his annual deductible has not been met and he is responsible for the full cost for today's visit? According to your insurance benefits, you owe $130. And there is no need to use your insurance for today's visit. Would that be something that we say to a patient? No, no. This is just an estimate. Your insurance carrier will reimburse you the difference.
D, based on your benefits details.
Well, I'm trying to talk through them, Sean. Come on.
Oh,
That's what
I'm
I
sorry.
think. No, you're good. See,
It's the-
and you can reschedule your visit for next month or based on your benefit details. According to your insurance benefits, you owe $130, and this is based on your benefit details. So is D the right answer? It's really the only one that makes sense.
Right. That's what as I was reading through it, I was like, these don't want to make sense, really.
Yeah, sometimes you can use process of elimination.
Mhm.
Which of the following statements is true about pre-authorization? It guarantees payment by the payer for the treatment of surgical services. It guarantees payment by the patient for treatment of surgical services. It only pertains to medical necessity and is not a guarantee of payment. It only pertains to the assignment of benefit and is not a guarantee of payment. So let me ask you something. Do you think that if the insurance pre-authorizes something, they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to pay for it? You would think, right? But it's not true.
Mm-mm.
It's not true. Because if they authorize a surgery, and whenever you call for the pre-auth and you tell them that what you're going to do, and then you tell them why you're going to do it, but they give you the authorization number. So when you bill this out, you put your authorization number on. But the reason that you did the surgery is different than the reason that they authorized it. Guess what they're going to do? They're not going to pay it. So you have to be careful. I know this all sounds very scary, guys, but it's really not. Rarely does anything like that happen. You're not going to call and say, hey, Blue Cross Blue Shield, I need a pre-auth to have Miss Marcia's thyroidectomy done. And it's because she has malignant neoplasm in her thyroid. But then when you bill it out, you're going to say, oh, she has an infection in her lungs. You know what I mean? There's a reason why you're doing it. So very rarely does any of that ever cross hairs. But, you know, you just need to know. It only pertains to medical necessity and it's not guaranteed of payment. So that's going to be your answer. We will talk more about pre-authorizations and stuff. I'm just giving y'all a jump start. A pre-certification is an approval from the insurance carrier to perform a service, a letter recommending treatments for a patient with a congenital disease, proof that a patient has insurance covered, which is a card or letter, or guarantee of payment for specified services.
A.
You think A? It is A. It's an approval for them to perform the service. But it is not a guarantee of what? It is not a guarantee of payment.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Which of the following insurance types requires a referral from a PCP in order to visit a specialist? HMO.
D.
HMO. Remember, HMO, PCP, referral. Just keep that visual in your mind. So it is an HMO. How many of these did I put in here? Okay, so last one. One more, y'all, and then we're done for today. Which of the following information will be found on the explanation of benefits? Do we want to go back and look at it? Or do we want to just go for it? Let's just go for it. Amount billed to the provider, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
It's got to have how much it was billed.
Yeah. How much it is?
Yeah. Co-payment due from the patients.
Yes.
Remember our little box, so yes. Deductible amount subtracted from billed amounts. If you've met your deductible, are they going to subtract that on your explanation of benefits? Yes, they are. They will. I know it didn't show on ours because we had met 0% of our deductible, but they will take out the deductible, the amount. Provider capitation amount, did we see anything about that? No. An amount previously collected. It has nothing about collections on there. So A, B, and C. Amount billed, co-payment, and deductible.
Miss Marsha, what page was they found on?
This,
The slide, no, the slide that you showed, there was like a rough draft of like the you had showed with the deductible and all that on there, the copay. Yeah, that one. Correct. Yeah, this right here. What
not found on
is
any page in your book. This was found on, I went to Google and I said, example of an explanation of benefits. And then I
mm-hmm.
went to images.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I got you.
a lot of these things I go and find myself to try to give you examples because it's not necessarily in the book.
Yeah, I got you.
Did you guys take notes?
I
Well, listen, I promise you before we leave out of this medical insurance packet, what I am giving you guys is the insurance NCCT packet. This is what you buy to study. I'm actually giving it to you now. I'm going through every single question. And before we move on to something else, I will give you a test. And I want you to make a 90 or above on it, because then I feel like you'll be ready for that portion of your NCCT. And then we're going to move on to another section, like it may be claims, things that I don't feel like we get to teach enough of in the program. This is what I'm doing extra on Mondays. It's our extra class. Doesn't really fit into what we're doing in our regular curriculum, but in order for you guys to be prepared and ready to go for that certification exam, which is why you're going through this, well, not the only reason, but it's a big reason to get certified. I want you prepared. And if you stick with me, if you study this, if you do the work with me here, guess what my success rate was on campus when we did this? 100%. If you don't do it, it's not going to work. Like, you can't just kind of do it. You can't kind of do it. I'm not doing this just to pull something out of a class to do it. I'm really doing it because I want you to get your certification. I want this to be a huge step in your career. So I know it's splotchy. I know that, like, throwing things in there, but it's the only way that I can fit the information in. But you're going to be able to see it again. Once we go through all the packets, I will give you a really big test, 125 questions. It directly, it will mirror the NCCT that you're going to take. It won't be the exact test because there's 4 different tests that rotate. Some of them have lots of coding, others do not. So I got to prepare you for whatever test you're going to get. But I just want you to feel prepared. I want to spend the time with you doing this. So I hope it's helping. Maybe it might not be helping today, but it will be of help later. So any questions, anything you guys need? Hi, Katie. Hi, Tori. I didn't even get to see you guys.
Hi.
Katie, I want to see your
Hi.
face. Turn your camera on. Y'all turn your camera on for just a minute, please. Hi, Tori.
Hey.
And I know Miss Katie, right? Yes, I do. Miss Katie, you want to tell them who you are? Or you want me to tell them who you are?
You were my teacher when I was in Alexandria on campus.
When I started teaching OMBC,
When you first
ago.
started.
When I first started, Katie was someone that was in my class, and she came back to see me now. Honestly, guys, this was just, I'm gonna say it's a God thing, Katie, because I recognized the name. It's been a long time ago. I was like, I used to have a student name, and it was her.
Yeah.
So anyway, Katie, are you liking online? It's going good?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I like it better.
Yeah. I like it better in the campus just because I feel like I know students better. But that's the
Yeah.
part I like better for campus. But I mean, honestly, at home, you can't beat it, right? Just can't beat it for
No.
flexibility and things of that nature. But anyway.
Then I'm not even at home. I'm at work.
Yeah, well, I love that you were able to join us at work. Tomorrow we have remember that Tuesday and Wednesday we have different classes. I'm changing our medical terminology Tuesday because you guys know where your medical terminology is in your CPT, right? So tomorrow we're doing coffee and coding. So tomorrow we will be focusing on ICD-10 coding. So until we,
Okay, so
go ahead.
I'm sorry, but tomorrow can we go over number 19 that was on the test?
Yes,
'Cause I was
look,
hanging up on that one.
look, I'm gonna pull number 19 on test. I have to write it down because y'all know I will forget it as soon as we hang up because I have 4 other meetings after we hang up. This is my favorite meeting of the day.
We never went over number 65.